Our next cards on the table guest is with me. I'm guessing that this fella is no stranger to referees' notebooks. Or maybe I'm wrong. I'm not quite sure. Carlton Palmer, thank you for joining us, sir.
Pleasure.
I would imagine you had a fair sprinkling of reds in your career.
Well, not
illustrious though it was.
Yeah, a lot of people used to say that, but in actual fact, I only had in my career 7 red cards for somebody who played the way that I played. You know, I think that's quite reasonable. Very
creditable, and also, dare I say, surprising.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are surprised by that. I picked up a lot of yellow cards, but very, very few red cards.
What were they mostly for?
I think most of them were for 2 bookable offences.
You hear what's happening? There's an ambulance on its way already.
Yeah. Two bookable offences, and had a couple for violent conduct when the red mist comes up. But this happens in football. And
any back chat to referees?
No. Never got booked for dissent. Never got booked for dissent. No, never ever. I mean, I always when I played a lot of the times, I always had good banter with the referees because I understand it's a difficult job, you know. So it is what it is. So a lot of the times I got on really well with referees.
You're destroying your reputation as a mouthy player.
Oh no, it was mouthy without a shadow of doubt, you know. But I used to have a laugh with them as well, you know, and they used to tell me to shut up and get on with it, you know. So that was what it was.
Could you do that now?
No chance. But I think it's because the directives have changed for referees in terms of that. They're not allowed to show common sense. You know, if a player's been showing dissent, surely there should be room for, hey, son, cut it out. Do you know what I mean? But they don't, and so, you know, and to be honest with you, you'd think players will learn, because especially if you're a central defender or a holding midfield player, which tackling is part of your game, you cannot afford to get booked early doors in the game.
There is another school of thought from those who can lip read players quite clearly, and close-up TV shots now are such that you can clearly lip read that referees are taking too much, borders on abuse. And that they should be stricter with players to set a better example for kids.
No, they shouldn't. Well, I don't agree with all this microphones on the pitch and whatever. You've got to remember, this is a contact, physical game of football of which teams want to win. So there are going to be instances where, you know, it's part and parcel of the game. There are going to be instances where things are set. But I don't believe players should give referees abuse, and if they do, then the referee should, in all right, send the player off and he should get banned.
Because they're swearing.
Exactly. If it boils down to abuse, then it should get sent off and banned.
And judging from the stats that you reeled off, you never actually abused a referee in that way.
No, not at all.
You'd F a bit about that decision and this decision.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is to do with your bringing up as well. You know, I wasn't allowed to backchat my dad. You wouldn't get away with that. You know what I mean? The managers I worked for, Howard Wilkinson, he'd take you off if you swore at him or backchatted him. He'd pull you off even if you were down to 10 men. Ron Atkinson. So it's all about discipline, which comes from and stems from your parents, the managers you play for, because they shouldn't allow it.
Did you also respect the referees for the job that they were doing, or did you feel during your career that they were inefficient, maybe incompetent at times? What was your view of the standard?
No. I mean, I always thought, you know, because of the nature of the game, there are going to be mistakes, but you know, and there are mistakes that might cost you a game, but I believe in the course of the season, you're going to have things go for you and things not go for you. So of course you're going to be upset if you think you should have had a penalty or it was the wrong decision. I probably got more upset as a manager because of the pressure and your job was on the line with it, you know. But not one decision will cost you your job as a manager. Not one decision will cost you, you know, if you're playing, even if you may lose the game because of the decision. By and large, you find the teams that win the leagues deserve to win it. The teams that get relegated deserve to get relegated.
It's a very even approach that you're adopting there. But as you say, you referred to your managerial career. You were at Stockport.
Yeah.
You were at Mansfield. And you had some very difficult times, didn't you?
Yeah, difficult times. You don't get a job. It's very rare you get a job that you can take over where everything's hunky-dory. That's why they change managers, you know. Therefore you face difficult times, and so because of that you're under pressure and you react differently, you know.
What do you feel now that you're out of management and you're a pundit and you can perhaps take a more objective view? What do you think of the behaviour in technical areas on the touchline and the remonstration that goes on with the fourth official almost constantly as a verbal punch bag, isn't he? You know, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's not right, but I understand the pressure the managers are under. But it's been dealt with right. I mean, Ince got a ban, Pardew got his ban, so it's been dealt with right. I think the FA and FIFA have to understand the pressure that these managers are under. That's got to change, because it's killing our game as well. You've got to relieve the pressure on managers, because I mean, I go back to the year we went to the 2 cup finals. If we were in the present day, the manager would have been out of work the first 10, 11 games that season. We went to 2 cup finals and finished 3rd or 4th in the Premier League. So you know, it is difficult. You know, managers who want to be successful, as they all do, you know, obviously vent their anger onto the nearest person that's there.
If you relieve that pressure on managers and you get some more sanity into the game, then you're certainly easing some pressure on referees and match officials as well, aren't you?
Absolutely. And but it's got to come from the FA. It's got to come from, you know, I mean, in this country now, we have, with all due respect, we have far too many foreigners. I don't mind foreigners coming into the game, because we have our lads going across the foreign. But Gareth Bale's gone to Real Madrid as one of the top players in Britain. You know, so if it's the top players that's coming in, then fine. But we you know, we have to get our British players out on that pitch, and the only way to do that is by giving the managers more time, much more time.
How we get to that situation, it is anybody's guess, because we're getting increasingly more foreign owners. It's increasingly geared to finance rather than football. Would you agree? Absolutely.
It's not going to happen. I fear for the game so much, because it's not going to happen, because the FA, they're all earning loads of money out of it. You know, football's becoming bigger and bigger business, so it's not going to happen. And the English game, as we know it, with the young kids coming through, it's going to be a thing of the past. You know, and so English players are not going to, English kids are not, even simple things like, my wife's a school teacher. Now, I learnt to play football in the playground, 2 jumpers down, tennis ball. It's all banned now. Health and safety. That's where you learnt to play. You know, the game of football. All of these things have been cut. So
there are fewer playing fields for a start.
Exactly.
Less opportunity for kids to get involved.
Yeah.
Can I just lob one in at you at the end here, and thank you again for the chat. Getting referees. Everybody wants to be a player. You know, you'd want to be a player more than a referee. Would you have ever, under any circumstances, entertained officiating? Would you have ever?
What do you mean after I finish playing football?
Yeah.
Obviously the money that's being paid now, it would interest me. But if at the time when I finished playing, if they were paying 8-10 grand as they were at the time, no. And it's the same coaching. That's why I'm coaching abroad. The coaches now, and this is why, believe you me, I've been in Dubai for the last 5.5 years. Some of our top coaches are abroad, because the money that's being paid by these clubs for the youth team, the development and whatever, it's not enough money. Simple as. Those are the things that have got to be. So if you're a referee, you can earn £50,000 and you can keep your family and do the things you want to do, then of course you'd be interested as an ex-player.
Do you see more players than ex-players?
I think maybe not the top players, because the top players will finish this game. They don't need to work. They don't need to do anything. But maybe from the championship, the middle of the championship down, those players would then look to do that, because some of them will be earning more money than what they were earning playing.
Yeah, good point. Carl, many thanks.
Cheers.
Good luck. Thanks
very much.
Cheers.